everybody, I'm Kiersten from Lambie's Nursery, and I'm so happy that you guys came to join me today. I always love getting to hang out with you guys. I don't feel like I do it often enough, but here we are. So at the time of me recording this video, there is a monster hurricane heading towards Florida, and I've just been in my thoughts and prayers a lot about it, praying for those in Florida that they are safe and okay. And this morning while I was doing that, I was thinking about a time I went to Florida and how that related to the doll hobby. Because once when I was in Florida, I got scammed. Flat out, it was probably one of the worst situations I've been in the reborn hobby to date. And I made a lot of mistakes in this situation. That's how I got in the situation. But the story doesn't have a sad ending. This story has the very best ending. So it's one of the worst things that ever happened to me in the reborn hobby that turned into the very best thing that happened to me in the reborn hobby. And I've talked about this story on my channel. I talked about it while it was happening. I've mentioned it a few times. But I realized today I've never told the full, complete story with like everything that made this really bad to how this turned into the greatest thing ever. So I figured we could talk about it today. I want to tell you guys this story. So there I was. It was September 2018. That's where our story starts. I was in the military and I had been dating this guy, Ethan. And it was really wonderful, except we're both in the military, and the military sends you wherever they want to send you. So I was in Hawaii, and when Ethan and I started dating, we were both in Hawaii together. And then September 2018 comes around, and they send Ethan to Florida. So we're like 6,000 miles apart. And that was really hard. I had done long distance relationships before, but never to this extent. It was hard. It was really, really hard. Anyways, I also during this time had to get abdominal surgery. So I'm sitting there at home, can't move because my stomach hurt so bad because it was just cut open and sewn back together. And I'm looking through Etsy, as you do, and I was looking for a doll to buy. I didn't have very many reborn dolls at this point. I only had a couple, but I really wanted a Saskia kit because I thought Saskia was absolutely adorable, and I found someone selling a custom-made Saskia, and I ordered it, and I was really excited. At the time, I didn't do my research though, because I was still really new at the hobby, so I didn't know what I wanted, what I didn't want yet, and what I liked in a doll, what I didn't like in a doll. So a few months later, I don't remember when now, but a few months later, the doll arrived, and she was beautiful, but she wasn't quite what I wanted. If I remember correctly, her skin was really rough to me, and I immediately just was like, nope, this is not the doll for me when I touched her. Because that's the thing, is I love holding my dolls, so if I don't like how they feel, it's a no for me, just automatically. And this was also my first doll with rooted hair. I had no idea what I was doing. It just looked like a big puff. Oh man, and that was frustrating for me. That was really frustrating. I didn't know what I was doing. So I decided to put the doll up for sale on Instagram. I think I paid like $600 for the doll. I was asking $400, and I was broke as a joke back then. You know, I don't remember how old I was. I cannot do math. I have dyscalculia, so math and numbers don't work in my head, especially fast. But I was still young and broke, being a young military member in Hawaii. Hawaii's so expensive. So anyways, I don't have a lot of money. So I kind of needed that money. It would have helped pay for gas. It would have helped pay for just other things. I needed the money. But this young lady comes into my Instagram DMs when I post the doll, and she is absolutely begging for the doll. She's like, this is my dream doll. I have never wanted a doll more in my life. This is absolutely gorgeous. She has everything I want. And I was like, cool, the price is $400, kind of need the money. And the young lady was like, I can't you just give me the doll? I couldn't. It's hard to just give away dolls. I can go into why in a different video, but it's hard, especially when you need the money, or I don't know. Anyways, I didn't feel like I could just give a stranger a free doll, so I think one of us suggested, let's do a trade. And I was like, you know what, that works. I want you to have your dream doll, because I was new to the reborn hobby, and I was already seeing so much drama in the reborn hobby. It's just, that's one of those things. There's always drama here. And I felt bad, and I wanted to do something good and kind, and so I accepted the trade. I really thought that this was her dream doll, and I was so excited for her. So we worked on a trade. Okay, nowadays I would not have accepted this trade. I am learning what boundaries are. It's really hard going to therapy and learning what boundaries are when you're almost 30, but I'm learning what boundaries are. And back then I had no idea what boundaries were. I really struggled to say no to anybody for any reason. I don't know. It was just really hard for me, and that's gotten me into so much trouble throughout my life, but we're only talking about it gotten me in trouble this one time. Anyway, so what we decided on for the trade was I was going to send her a Saskia kit, and she was going to make it for me. She told me that I needed to buy the kit and send it to her. And Ethan is ringing the red alarm bells. He's ringing them everywhere, and he's shouting at me, you spend $600 on this doll, and you're gonna spend another $150 to give this girl a doll? That's not a good deal, Kiersten, he was like. And I was just like, look, this is her dream doll. She really, really wants it. And I know it's not good for me and not fair to me, but it'll make her happy, and making people happy is so important, right? And he was just like, okay, you're gonna do whatever you're gonna do, but just know this isn't fair to you. So I sent her a Reborn Saskia kit that I bought from like McPherson's or somewhere. And oops, I'm sorry, baby, that wasn't very nice of me. So I sent her the kit, and I had this idea of how the trade was going to go in my head. I thought it was a good idea if I waited for her to finish the doll, like finish making my doll, and then we would send the dolls to each other on the same day. So I thought that was a great idea, like make sure everybody's happy, nobody feels scammed, nothing goes wrong, it's all going to be okay. Well, that's not how it went at all. So also at this time, me and Ethan haven't seen each other in months. It's January 2019. We haven't seen each other in a long time, and he was about to deploy. Remember, I said we were both in the military at this time, and he was about to deploy for a few months in the Middle East. And I was really scared. It's terrifying. My dad was in the military when I was a kid, and I remember him deploying, and I was always terrified the whole time, and Ethan was going somewhere way scarier than my dad went when I was a kid. So I'm just beside myself with all these big emotions. And Ethan and I planned a trip for me to go out to Florida to visit him for 3 weeks, and it was a beautiful trip, but I'll probably talk about that later. Anyways, I tell the girl, hey, I'm going on a trip to Florida soon, but I will bring the doll with me in my suitcase, and I'll ship her out to you whenever you finish the doll. The girl flips her lid and is just having a meltdown and is like, no, 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 no. That's not fair. That's not nice. That's not cool. You are sending me this doll right now. 2019, Kiersten has no boundaries. She didn't know how to say no, so she was like, okay. and I put the doll in a box. I sent like 5 different outfits, a bottle, a hairbrush. I sent all kinds of things with this doll. Big, beautiful box opening. And I sent the doll on its way. So I fly on to Florida to see Ethan, and I think it was one of the first few days I was out there in Florida visiting Ethan, and the girl posts on her Instagram story a picture of the blank Saskia kit I had sent her. And yeah, I was excited. I was really excited because I don't know, I was picturing what my doll was gonna look like. I was excited because I was also trying to remind myself, sure, this is a little unfair, but I'm gonna get a pretty new doll out of this. It's all gonna be okay, right? So I'm excited. And then, so when I had shipped the doll, I had sent tracking to the girl, to the young lady, and at first, everything's fine. The doll goes from Hawaii to, California, Kentucky, and it all looks great. And then the doll goes from like Kentucky back to California. The girl starts messaging me and is like, where's my doll? Why is my doll back in California? What in the world is going on? You need to figure this out. She's super mad at me. And she's also mad because the post office website kept going down. They were doing maintenance on their servers, and throughout this one day, the website was just down. Every few minutes I would check and it would be down. And she's blaming me for this too, and is just so mad that she cannot check tracking. I remember sending her, there's this website called like Is It Down or something, and it'll tell you what websites are down, what problems they're experiencing. I remember sending her that and being like, yo, I can't do anything about this. I can't make the website work. But I did my best to alleviate her worries. I told her just give it a few days. Sometimes these things happen. Sometimes packages just get on the wrong flight and go somewhere else on accident, but they eventually do arrive. So Ethan and we drive down from his house, we drive to Orlando, and we go to Disney World with my parents and my great-grandparents, and it was a beautiful time. And I remember her messaging me this whole time where I'm trying to have fun. Like, it is me and my dad are born in February, so we're doing this in February. It's our birthday trip. It was supposed to be really exciting. I also hadn't seen my great-grandparents in so many years. And I hadn't seen my parents in a long time either. That's a part of the military. You don't see your family very much. So I was so excited. I'm at Disney World with my family. This is amazing. I'm having fun. And this girl keeps messaging me angry about the package because by now it had ended up in like Chicago and had stayed there for a few days. And she's livid and it is accusing me of scamming her. And once again, I'm trying to calm her down and be like, this is how post offices work. This is how shipping packages work. Sometimes things just go awry and we have to be patient. She's still flipping her lid and yelling at me, so I did the only thing I could really think of to do. I called the post office, I called USPS, or USPS, I don't know, whatever agency I used, oh my gosh. I called them and I was looking for it, I had the tracking number, I had everything, and I was trying to look for it. Well, I'm at Disney World. Guys, I'm at like Epcot, riding test track with my parents on the phone with the post office for this girl. It was nuts. And I get she was upset. I get it. I do understand how stressful that is. Also, at the same time, I was spending every spare minute on this girl, trying to help her in whatever way she could. Once again, Kiersten had no boundaries. By the time we left Disney World, by the time everybody flew back except me, because I was going back to Ethan's house and we were going to spend another 2 weeks together or something like that. We were going to spend more time together in Florida exploring the town he lived in. And her package had been stuck in Chicago for a few days. And full-on meltdown still from the girl. This meltdown does not stop. It was like a continuous thing for weeks. So I filed a lost package report. I think I filed 2 of them, and I was calling the post office every single day. And finally, it's the end of me and Ethan's trip, and he's deploying in a couple weeks, and I have to go back to Hawaii. I'm miserable. I am really sad because I felt like I had spent my whole vacation, my whole time where I'm supposed to be cherishing time with Ethan, I had spent it all on this young girl, trying to help her, trying to get her doll figured out. All the while, I forgot to mention this part, I didn't get a single update for what she was doing with the paint of my doll. Not a single update. And I would ask too, in between all these text messages, where in response, all she would give me was the letter K. Be like, okay, I just filed a lost package report, looking for it now, K. I called the post office for the 30th time today, K. Like, she was always mad at me about something. Like, she was always yelling at me. But when I was doing something to fix it, the response was just K. I was super aggravated. So aggravated with the whole situation. But I was most aggravated that I felt like I had spent all my time with Ethan, which was supposed to be really valuable and special, because deployments are scary. Not everybody makes it home from a deployment. And I felt like I had spent my whole time just dealing with this situation and not getting anything in return because she hadn't told me anything about my own doll. So finally, I fly back home. Actually, can I tell you guys something that isn't doll related that happened on the last day with Ethan? It's not doll related, but it is really special. So it was Valentine's Day. My last day on my Florida trip was Valentine's Day, and Ethan takes me to this beach in Destin, and it's deserted because it's February. And so first, actually, I have to tell you guys another part of the story. Once upon a time in Hawaii, I ran out into the ocean. It's the middle of the night. There's no one at the beach, and Ethan and I were just talking and hanging out. And I just, without warning, ran into the ocean with all my clothes on. And he ran in with me, and we danced, and we sang, and it was really special. And then I just looked at him, and I was like, I love you. I love you so much. And that was the first time I told him I loved him. So, back to the Florida part of the story. He took me to this deserted beach, and we talked for hours. We talked about what we wanted with our lives, what we wanted the future to look like. And then when we were getting up to leave, I ran into the ocean with all my clothes on again. And Ethan followed me. But this time, instead of hugging me and dancing with me, he got down on one knee and he proposed to me. And that was so special and so beautiful. And I'm not going to cry thinking about it. I'm totally not going to cry. But it was really beautiful and really special. So the next day, I get on the plane with my ring, and I'm just so happy. I'm engaged to the greatest man in the world. And then I get another tantrum from this young lady. And I'm pretty sure at this point, I just really told the girl, like, you haven't sent me any updates. You are freaking out at me every day. I'm doing everything I can. What is the deal? And yeah, from there, that day, I think she told me a story of how the doll was finished. She just couldn't send me pictures. But she didn't have money for shipping. So could I just send her like $50 more so she could ship the doll? I don't think I did. I don't remember sending her the money. I think I was just really done at this point. And a couple days later, maybe a week, I think it was less than a week. Anyways, the doll moves. It moves from Chicago, where it had actually just been stuck in customs because I was sending the doll to Canada. And she gets her doll, and everything is right in the world, at least her world. And, you know, she's so happy, messaging me, like her tantrums and just craziness had never happened. And it's just like, I'm so happy. I'm like, that's great. I'm really happy. Yay, this whole thing's over. Now you can send me my doll, right? That doesn't happen. A few weeks go by, my birthday goes by. We're in March now. And Ethan, I'm pretty sure Ethan was on his way to the Middle East. Like, he's on the plane. And I get the nerve to tell the girl, like, so what's your plan on shipping the doll? And not a word. And so I made a video on YouTube talking about all this, telling you the story I just told you, except now I've added a lot more detail, because back then I was really afraid to talk about me being in the military and all that. But anyways, so I made the video and people reached out to her. I didn't share her name or her nursery or anything, but I think people remembered the situation. I don't know. People figured out who it was, and they talked to her, and she just told the people that I was crazy and that she was going to show up to Ethan's house. Her plan that she told people was she was going to drive down from wherever she lived in Canada to Florida to Ethan's house, knock on the door, and drop off the doll and surprise me. What? A million times what? I am still so confused on what in the world she was thinking on this, and telling people this. But anyways, that was apparently her plan. I found it so creepy because, one, Ethan's not even at his house. I don't think I had told people that Ethan was gonna go away, because, you know, when you're about to deploy, you keep things really close to the chest, just in case. You never know. So we were keeping these details really close. I say a lot. Sorry, random thought. Oh man. Okay, anyways, eventually, I don't remember if I said something that convinced her to send the doll or if somebody else did, but eventually she finished the doll. Turns out she had never even finished the doll. So she finishes the doll, and she herself went on a trip to Florida. That part really did happen. Of course, she was actually nowhere near where Ethan lived, because Florida is a decent sized state. It's not like the size of a city. It's a pretty big area. So she went to one part of Florida on vacation. Ethan lives on another part. And while she's in Florida, she goes to the post office. She tries to ship the doll she made me, which, by the way, I don't know if I should even call it a doll, because she didn't put it together. She literally sent me a box of stuffing and some body parts. She didn't varnish the doll, so the paint was rubbing off when I opened it. I know I'm getting a little ahead of myself, but calling it a doll is like a big push. Yeah, I have the video. I might not remember to tag the video, but I'll show you guys pictures of what I got here. So that's what I got in the mail weeks after this. So beforehand, while she's in Florida on vacation, she tries to ship the doll to Ethan's house, and she finds out she can't because she's not a United States citizen. So the return address was like somewhere in Canada. And they told her, hey, you know, you're in Florida right now. We can't really do this. So that's at least what she told me. And she had also sent a picture of the shipping address, and I was like, hey, no one's there right now. I'm not there, at least. Can you please send it to my address in Hawaii that I've already told you a couple times? Please. Yeah. I had sent her Ethan's address just as an aside, because I thought, you know, I was there for like 3.5 weeks. So I figured that it wouldn't take so long to make the doll. So I had sent her Ethan's address at one point and was like, hey, if you finish the doll before February 14th, just send it here instead. That didn't happen. We're clearly into March. So a few times before this, I had already been like, hey, after February 15th, I'm gonna be here in Hawaii. This is my address in Hawaii. So finally she gets the memo to send it to Hawaii. And she did. She did. And those are the pictures that I just showed you guys of me and my box of stuffing and baby parts. And like I already said, it wasn't varnished. It was like kind of rubbing off on my hands. It was sticky. And I paint dolls. I'm not great at it, but I painted a few dolls. And I don't know. I've had a lot of dolls. I've painted some dolls. And still to this day, no doll has been quite like this one. It was like she had used highlighters or markers to make the doll. Like how quickly it was rubbing off. Like it just felt inky rather than painty. Does that make sense? I don't know. It was rubbing off on my hands while I'm doing the box opening. Now, here's where the story starts to change. Is after I posted that first video where I'm like, guys, I think I'm being scammed. This lady, she tells me, sorry, this part makes me happy. Like, I'm so glad some of these things happened. This lady, she told me she didn't want to watch my video. She just thought it was going to be a sad sob story about this girl getting scammed. So she didn't want to watch my video, but it kept being suggested. And then she watched it. And then she said, I really liked this girl, meaning Kiersten, me, and felt bad for her, so I reached out to her. And at first, when she reached out to me on Instagram, I did not respond, or at least I think I just said, I don't think I responded at all. Oh man, because I was like, I have gone through so much. I don't want to make friends in the reborn hobby again. I don't want to talk to anybody in the reborn hobby again. I was thinking of leaving. This really put a sour taste in my mouth, and I really thought that everybody was like this, and I wanted no part in it, right? And I told Ethan about this lady who had messaged me, and he was like, she sounds nice. You should respond. So I did. And I remember us talking for hours about our lives, about who we were as people. We weren't talking about dolls. We were talking about the real life things. We were showing each other our souls. It was a really magical moment, if that makes sense. Like, it was the craziest friendship making moment I have had in my life, where it was just, boom, we are best friends now. That was crazy. And that lady was Chelsea from Pumpkin Sparkles Babies. You guys have probably heard of her. She's like my best friend. She makes a bunch of my dolls. I'm always talking about her because we're best friends. I love her. I went to her house last year and she taught me how to paint dolls, and it was so much fun. She is way cooler in person. We used to do live streams here on my channel together. It was wonderful. That was a lot of fun. Yeah, we still talk like every day. She's still my best friend. Sorry, I'm just thinking about like those first few days where we weren't even talking about dolls. We were just like, from the moment I answered her text, it was like, we are best friends. Let's share everything about each other. But then we did start talking about dolls, and I told her this whole situation and what had happened. And then she saw what I got in the mail, and she was like, don't even worry about that, okay? Just close it back up in the box and send it to me, and I will put it together for you. Because also, I didn't even know how to put a doll together. I was that new to the reborn hobby that looking at this box of doll parts and stuffing, I was like, what do I do? I was so confused. So she took all that and she made me a Saskia. She ended up stripping all the paint. She said she didn't even have to like use anything you normally use to strip a reborn doll. Just like wiped it off and it all came off. Like I said, it was coming off in my hands, guys. It was awful. So Chelsea made me a new Saskia. And before she had even finished the Saskia, she had sent me a sweet little doll, and it is still one of the most treasured dolls in my collection. Let me show you guys, okay? This is Reborn Evelyn asleep, and it's literally the first doll I ever got from Chelsea, and she's so perfect. I love her so much. I don't show her much on my channel because a lot of my older dolls, except Paisley, I've kind of retired, and I just use them as display dolls because I want to make sure that I keep everything about them intact. But I love her. She's one of my favorites, and she's one of Chelsea's first dolls she made too. She started painting, I think, right around the time I bought that Saskia, the first original Saskia. So I think she started painting like fall 2018. So this is one of her beginning dolls. I don't have that Saskia anymore. I ended up selling her. I don't remember why. Actually, I think it was just I needed money at that point. Like I said, I was broke. I kept her for a while, and then, oh gosh, I think I remember now what happened. So I ended up selling her because I was moving. The military, surprise, told me I had 3 weeks to move me and my dogs from Hawaii to California. And that was stressful, and I needed money because they don't pay for everything, or at least not right away. When you gotta leave that fast, they don't pay you everything right away. So I needed money. I ended up selling that doll and probably a couple others, honestly. But I did get another Saskia painted by Chelsea, and my dad adopted it, and that's his doll, and he goes on lots of adventures with his doll on his Instagram account. You guys should really follow it if you're not already. I'm gonna put it right here. But yeah, that's how I became best friends with Chelsea. Is she saw this video of me. I think the video was kind of like a mix of complaining, telling a story, and being like, what in the world do I do? I didn't know what the right thing to do was at all. Yeah, if put in the same situation now, I'd do so many things different. Like, I know I made so many mistakes, but it was also years ago, and I'm learning a lot now. I go to therapy to learn all about boundaries now, and yeah, how to take better care of myself. But yeah, Chelsea saw that video and then wanted to be my friend, which is crazy. I'm so grateful that a rotten situation, absolutely, I can't even put into words like how stressful that whole situation February 2019 was. Like, every time I would open Instagram, I was just getting screamed at. And that was so stressful, and I'm doing everything I can, and I'm just almost in a manic cartoon state of like calling the post office, checking tracking, doing everything I can think of to fix the situation. And then it turned into this beautiful friendship I have still 6 years later, and that's really magical and incredible. And yeah, honestly, I might change a few things if I could go back, but also I probably wouldn't, because that's what led me to make a beautiful best friend and have all these dolls and really start this YouTube channel. Because yeah, that becoming friends with Chelsea, that scammy situation really drove me to start creating more videos, I guess. And yeah, it just made this YouTube explode, this hobby explode for me. My friendship became a thing. Like, this horrible situation turned out to be one of the best things that ever happened to me. And that's really wonderful and magical and sweet. And I just wanted to share that with you guys, that I made such a beautiful friend from such a horrible situation. Oh, and there's more ending to this story. So Ethan did come back from his deployment, and he's safe, he's fine, And we got married when he got back. A few weeks later, we ended up getting married. And we've been married 5 years now. So I guess I've been friends with Chelsea like 5.5 years, not 6, but whatever. And yeah, me and Ethan are doing great. Me and Chelsea are doing great. Everything's wonderful. And sure, I've been in the reborn hobby a long time now, and there's been some ups and downs, and I've had a lot of downs these past couple weeks, but everything's still good. There's so many blessings and things to be grateful for, and I am so grateful I'm here, and I'm grateful I get to talk to you guys, and I've gotten to meet so many of you guys at like doll shows and stuff. Y'all are wonderful, and I'm just so grateful for every single one of you and all these great memories I have and dolls I have. So thanks for being here, guys. Thanks for listening to my wild, kind of crazy story. Hopefully it was easy-ish to follow. Hopefully. Oh man, I try to tell stories, but sometimes I feel like I go a little bit all over the place. Oh well. I love you guys. Thanks for being here. Please stay safe out there, especially those of you who are in Florida at the time of me recording this. I don't actually know what day I'm going to post this, so that's why I keep saying that. But please stay safe, everyone. I love you. Remember, you matter, and you are really cool, really special, and really loved. Bye, everybody.